Alright guys, so if you remember last time, I was trying to figure out a way to run the intercooler piping on the hot side here. And this is kind of what I came up with, and this is the idea that I kind of really wanted to go with. So after hearing some advice from you guys, I read some of the comments and talked to a few other H enthusiasts. They said that this shouldn't be a problem to run it like this as long as everything's going to clear. So my biggest worry was the wastegate and if the bumper is going to fit on here. So I did briefly test fit the bumper on here. As you can see, there's a bit of marks here on the dust. And that is actually where the signal light from the bumper was contacting right here. So basically what I'm going to have to do, rather than using this elbow, I think I'm going to end up having to use a straight coupler on here and run it a bit farther this way, loop it up and around over here, and then the signal light's just going to fit nicely in the middle. So this is about the only part that was contacting. Everything else looked good. So I think that's what I'm going to have to do. So I'm going to have to use up some other piping and do a bit more fabrication here to make that work. So I do still have a bunch of pipes laid out here that I'll be able to use. My other concern was the wastegate. So I did order a tile wastegate, and it also came with the piping. So I ordered that online, and this arrived in the mail. This is actually just the piping. The seller told me after I purchased it that he was sending from 2 different locations. So I figured, okay, if he's a tile dealer, that makes sense. Maybe the wastegate is coming directly from the manufacturer and this is coming from a different shop that does the welding. Something like that. So it kind of made sense to me. It was all supposed to be coming from California.
You could not be more wrong.
So this arrived about a week ago, and this is just the piping. So it came with a 90-degree elbow, and also this would be the dump tube coming off the wastegate, so it'll just shoot straight down. So that is all really nice. I'm pretty happy with that. This is the package that came from California. What I wasn't told was that the wastegate was coming from China, and I specifically didn't want to order from China because of the fact that it might be a knockoff. So I am still waiting for the wastegate to come. Apparently it's still going to come this year. So I'm a little upset about the fact that it is coming from China when that's specifically something I was trying to avoid. And now on top of that, I'm having to wait even longer to get it. If it would have all just came from the same place, I would have everything already and I'd be able to mock everything up properly. But that's not the case. So we're just going to have to roll with it. Whatever the case is, whether it's a knockoff or not, I'm going to end up having to use it. Even if it's a tile knockoff, at least I can use it temporarily to get everything mocked up, and then I can buy a legit one later. But like I said, we're gonna have to wait and see when it gets here. So a little upsetting, but I think we can still work through it. So I got my elbow here, and this is basically gonna go right off the turbo manifold under here. So here is the V-band flange on my manifold, and this is the 90-degree elbow that it came with. So that will mate up there quite nicely, which will relocate the wastegate a bit lower and out of the way. So I think this is actually going to work really nicely. Again, I won't know for sure until the wastegate gets here, but I think I'll be able to make it work either way. So that means that I will be using this type of routing. I think it's going to be a lot simpler than trying to run everything around. Because if you remember last time, I tried routing it through here and nothing was going to line up, and it was going to take a lot more fabrication to make that work. I think this is going to be a lot simpler, and it's going to look a lot cleaner once it's done. So for now, I'm just going to set this stuff aside for the wastegate, and we'll deal with that once the wastegate arrives. For today, I mostly want to deal with the intercooler piping, but I also want to sort out my blow-off valve as well. So I picked this one up a few years ago. Actually, a buddy gave it to me. He had ordered it, I believe, just for the hardware. So it's never actually been used. He just needed some hardware for his other blow-off valve. So I'm gonna have to track down some hardware for this, but he said he was never using it and it was just collecting dust. So he handed it to me. It's kind of got some anodized blue in there, so I'm gonna have to try and figure out a way to remove that yet. But for the time being, this will work great for a mock-up purpose. I think I'm gonna end up mounting it somewhere in this area right here. There's a ton of room, and there's gonna be nothing in the way of it right here. If I kind of mount it on the inside or closer to the throttle body, I believe I'm gonna run into some clearance issues with some other stuff. So I think somewhere in this general area, probably like close to here, would be just fine. Then I still got lots of room to run my vacuum lines and stuff like that. So yeah guys, that's probably what the plan is for today. It's really cold in here, so I tried to get an early start today because I'm gonna have to take a lot of breaks to go inside and warm up today, but I really want to get this done. It's gonna be a lot of trial and error stuff, and it's gonna take a while to do, but yeah, let's just get to it. All right guys, well, it is a new day today, and back out here in the garage, and as you can see, it's already dark out. I ended up spending most of my day today road tripping. I ended up picking up a new diamond drive for the Arctic Cat. So right now I'm kind of prioritizing the Civic, so I want to make sure I'm getting as much work done as I can on that. And I didn't want to waste any time rebuilding my old diamond drive for the snowmobile. So I just picked up a new one, should be able to bolt that thing up in an afternoon, and then we can get the sled running again. So that's kind of exciting now that we finally got snow, but now it's just too dang cold to do anything outside. So I gotta wait for a warmer day before I do that. But anyway, let's get back to work on Frankenstein. So as you saw yesterday, I got all this piping kind of finished up here. It actually fits really good. There's no kink or anything in that coupler there, so I'm really happy with that. So it's all fitting really nicely. Test fit the bumper and it fits no problem. The signal light actually fits in here perfectly, so there shouldn't be any issue with that. I can just run the bulb harness right through here and it'll just plug right in. So that shouldn't be a problem at all. Now I'm just waiting for my wastegate to get here so that I can finalize everything down here. So I can't really do much else on this side of it. I don't want to final weld any of this until I know everything is going to fit. So I want to move on to the blow-off valve location. So like I was kind of explaining before, I want to kind of mount it in this area here. So basically all I'm going to end up doing is kind of notching out the flange piece that came with the blow-off valve, and then just drilling a hole in here, and that should be all we need to do. So basically I'm just going to kind of grind a curve into this piece here so that it'll fit nicely on this piping, and then basically just make a hole in here and make sure that fits nicely on there, and that can get welded up. So shouldn't be too much of a project, but it's something I definitely want to get done today, so let's get to it. All right, guys, so I got my pipe back installed and I got the flange mocked up right here, and that's pretty much where it's gonna end up. I got the edges all sanded, so it's pretty much ready to be welded now. And if I take the blow-off valve here, put it up against, that's right about where it's gonna be. So I think that's gonna look really nice. I'm pretty happy with that. Drop me a comment below, guys. Let me know what you think about this, but I'm pretty happy with the results. So that's about all I can get done today, guys, because I'm still waiting on the wastegate to show up. So that should be coming in the next couple of days, and then we can kind of finalize everything then. So I don't really want to take anything away to get welded until I make sure that that's going to fit. So we kind of have to wait until that. But yeah, guys, if you like the video, definitely give it a thumbs up. Drop us a comment below. Like I said, let us know what you think, and definitely consider subscribing if you haven't already. Also, we're on TikTok now, so make sure you check that out. MT Garage YT, and we'll see you next time.